So I just finished building this new deck, or refurbishing the old one. Put out the final video about it yesterday, and I had two questions that were recurring questions from you guys that I wanted to address. One was, what about stain, paint, wood preservative? And the other one was, why didn't I leave any gaps between the wood on the decking here? Let's talk about that. Hey everybody, I'm Bill with Live Simple, Live Free. And you know, when we do videos, we try to anticipate all of the questions that you might ask and answer them in the video, but we always miss something. And so the two questions here, what about stain or preservative, and why aren't there any gaps? They both have to do with the wood. People were saying, do you need to put preservative, or don't you need to put preservative on this? Well, this is pressure treated lumber, okay? I don't know the process that they do, but it's completely impregnated with chemicals that will keep it from rotting. And I think it's got it's rated for 30 years, something like that. So technically, no, you don't need to put preservative on it. If you do put preservative on it, you can't put it on there right away because, like I said, it's wet. It's wet with all these chemicals, and as it dries out, it will shrink a little bit. So if you're going to put preservative on it, it's really recommended that you wait until it dries out a little bit and shrinks. Otherwise, the preservative won't completely soak into it because of all those other chemicals. So I generally like to wait at least 6 months and let it dry out before I put any kind of preservative on it. Now, I'll probably get in trouble with you guys for this. I hesitate to even say it, but I'm not even really sure that preservative is necessary. In fact, I've never put any wood preservative on a deck, and they last for, well, the one that I just replaced, I don't know how old it is because it was here and it was in need of repair when we bought the house, but it's probably at least 30 years old. And so I'm not convinced that preservative or something like that is necessary. Now, it does look better if you're going to stain it. The deck looks better. But if you're going to do that, you need to wait one season. Wait, like if this is the fall, if I was going to stain this or preserve this, I would do it next spring after it has one season over the winter to dry out and shrink up a little bit. The other thing is, what about the gap here? And that also has to do with the wood because, like I said, as it dries out, it'll shrink a little bit. For many years when I did this deck, I had spacers, and I would put the spacer in there to make sure there was like a 1/4 inch gap. But you come back a couple years later and that 1/4 inch gap is a 1/2 inch gap. And so actually it's not really required, or in fact it's not even really recommended anymore that you put a gap between the wood, because 6 months or 9 months from now, like whatever gap you leave is going to be twice the size. So I always put them as tight as I can, and I come back later and there's still a gap, or there is a gap in between the wood. Now this is the deck at our back door, our side door. I built this deck 2 years ago, so it's been through several seasons. You can see now the gap here. There's about a 1/4 inch gap on each one, and these were tight when I built it. So you can see what I'm talking about, that the wood actually, as it dries out, it actually shrinks. Now this has not been treated in any way. If I was going to treat this, I would pressure wash it to make it clean and then put preservative on it. You can get a clear preservative, or you can get something that's stained with a color. But you can see how this weathers and the gap opens up. So yeah, it's pressure treated lumber. It's impregnated with all kinds of chemicals. The formula, I don't know exactly what is all in it, but I know it used to have arsenic in it, which was very dangerous. And a few years ago they changed it, and now I think the main ingredient is copper that they put into that, but it's got other stuff as well. And it just, you can feel it's heavier. If you pick up a piece of wood that's not pressure treated, it's much lighter than the pressure treated wood because of all the chemicals in here. So I hope that answers your questions. I really appreciate all of your feedback and all of your comments. So thanks for watching. Live simple, live free, you be blessed. See you next time.